Probably important to take benefit fraud seriously because it costs us about £800 million a year. But shall I tell you what costs 13 billion a year, 10 times as much? Tax avoidance. And that's money that could be spent on schools and hospitals. So my proposal is to take half of the budget currently spent on the benefit fraud ads and give it to the Inland Revenue to fund some adverts letting people know we're cracking down on tax cheats. Now the reason we need this is simple. At the moment, the government valiantly tries to tackle tax avoidance by closing loopholes, but that can only ever scratch the surface. Ultimately, accountants will always be inventing new ways to keep one step ahead of the revenue. What we need to do is change the social norms around tax paying to make people feel embarrassed about wriggling out of paying their fair share of tax, and that's what these ads would do. They have to be in Tatler and Country Life rather than London and TV3, but it'll be worth it. I want to see the man with a big, deep, booming voice say on the TV ads, tax avoiders, we're closing in on you.
Let's be clear. Are you talking about putting out adverts that say that you're on to the cases of people who are behaving illegally? Or are you talking about putting out adverts, essentially, which would be like public service announcements to say, like, smoking is bad for you, except these would say, tax avoidance may be good for you, but it's bad for the rest of society. Is that essentially what you're doing? Illegality is key here.
Well, I don't know. We're talking about people operating in a grey area, a lot like some of the people exploiting the benefit system. What I'm talking about is people free-riding all the rest of us. People who use our roads, our infrastructure, who our welfare state would still look after if they went bankrupt, but aren't paying their fair share. Avoiders would love to distinguish between evasion and avoidance. The Inland Revenue encourages a distinction between tax planning, which is a legitimate use of the law and relief, and tax avoidance, which is a contrived and deliberately dubious way of exploiting them, which in future will be ruled illegal, but it's just so complex that the law doesn't cover it at the moment. That's why I use the phrase tax cheat. I think it's really the spirit of the thing. A lot of the Russian oligarchs are undergoing great protection from our security services, from the FSB, the cost of tens of millions. Quite right too, but they should be paying their way towards that.
Right. Suppose we took this away. Would be your, a picture of your kind of your diplomatic protection force, etc. He's off, or she's off, or whatever. Right. And then a picture of a kind of Litvinenko type murderer around the corner.
David, you could do these ads.